5 must-have equipment pieces that you need in your home studio. And then at the end of the video, I'll talk about some more nice-to-have things that you can purchase for your home studio if you want to go above and beyond. I'm Charles Klain, singer, songwriter, and producer. So if you're making music, producing music, and trying to get that music heard, then please feel free to subscribe to this channel because that's what this channel is all about. In this list of 5, I'm not going to mention a computer. I just kind of think of this as obvious. Number 1 is a DAW. There are free DAWs or paid DAWs. A DAW is a digital audio workstation. So examples would be like Logic Pro X, Ableton, FL Studio, Cubase, Pro Tools. I personally use Logic Pro X. You can use GarageBand if you have a Mac for free. There are also some other free softwares if you're using Windows. Most DAWs do pretty much the exact same thing, but they do vary in types of features they have. One thing that you can do a bit of research on before you go into the DAW is what kind of stock sounds and plugins does the DAW have, and are those stock plugins and sounds good for your genre? Are you making electronic music? Maybe Ableton is better for you. Are you a singer-songwriter? Maybe Logic is better for you. Do a bit of research in that regard. I like Logic because of their stock sounds. I end up just using a lot of their stock virtual instruments and obviously a lot of the stock plugins just because it's really good for my genre of music. Number 2, headphones and speakers. I put this in the same one. You can do either or, but I would recommend doing both, and it's not that much of an extra cost. You can use any type of headphones you want to, but I would recommend getting monitor headphones because you can do proper mixing, and basically monitor headphones won't change the sound coming out of your computer. It's what you hear is what you get. With headphones like these, what I'm wearing right now, Bose headphones, they'll kind of do a slight EQ of the sound to really make it sound a bit better because these are kind of headphones for listening to music. Just go to Google and type in monitoring headphones or studio headphones and you're going to find a huge list of different headphones and different costs. Obviously, the cheaper you go, usually the lower quality, but I find it diminishing returns around $150, $200 if you get a good pair of headphones. You probably won't notice a difference unless you're an audiophile. If you can't get speakers, then you can't get speakers, but I would recommend getting speakers as well. You need monitor speakers, so one left, one right speakers, and you need to have them angled beside your computer or something so you can hear the stereo image. You can hear sounds from the left and sounds from the right and sounds up the middle. I'd recommend looking on like your used classified section in your local city or going to your local kind of tech shop and getting a pair of like studio monitors for anywhere between $75 and $150. If you see yourself getting into the mixing side of making music, then you'll likely want to end up having a variety of speakers that you can test your music on. Just like when you're finishing a song, you want to listen to it on speakers, you want to listen to it on headphones, you want to listen to it in your car, testing all these different objects where sound is produced from because your song is going to sound different across these areas, which is why you sometimes see in studios you have like a few different types of speakers. The third thing you're going to need is an all-purpose general microphone. One microphone that you can use to record your vocals, record your guitar that has good quality and that you can reuse in different areas. This is a Shure SM7B microphone, which I'm sure you've seen before. It's popular in podcasting and broadcasting, but it's great for vocals and it's great for recording acoustic guitar or percussion. This microphone here is a Rode NT1A, and this microphone is a condenser microphone, also good for recording vocals and acoustic guitar and this kind of thing. So you'll have to do a bit of research with what types of things you are recording. Is it just vocals or is it just a guitar or is it just kind of things around your house even, because that will depend on what type of microphone you use. This Shure SM7B is in that $300, $400 range. You can try to find some used ones that are less expensive. The Rode NT1A is less expensive. It's about $150, I think, right now. I do recommend just one general purpose microphone though, because you don't have to overwhelm yourself with one mic for vocals and one mic for your acoustic guitar and one mic for your percussion sounds or anything. Just start out with one mic. The fourth thing is an audio interface. If you're doing vocals and guitar, I would recommend then a 2-channel interface, something like the Scarlett 4i4 or the Apogee Duo 2-channel or the Apollo Twin. These interfaces have 2-channel inputs, which means you can plug in a microphone and a guitar at the same time and record both of those. If you're thinking about only recording vocals, or guitar at like separate times, then you can go with something like the Scarlett Solo or the Apogee One. Basically, these interfaces only have one channel. It's absolutely necessary that you do have an audio interface if you're going to be recording vocals or recording a guitar directly into your DAW. This interface is kind of the middleman between the vocal signal or the guitar signal, and then that puts it into your DAW in a digital signal. So basically, you need that to kind of plug those two things together. There's a huge variance in terms of cost for an audio interface. The Apollo Twin, which is a 2-channel interface, is something like $1,500, and the Scarlett 4i4 is more like $150. So why is the difference in cost so much? Well, it's the quality of the preamp usually that's within the interface or the sound card. Again, with all of this, if you're just starting out, just go with something cheap, even buy something used. Then once you get the flow of things and you can actually hear the difference of things when it's happening, then you know that's the time to get something more expensive. The fifth must-have equipment piece in your home studio would be a MIDI controller. Again, not absolutely necessary, but makes it so much more fun, but also more easier to create sounds. It can be something really small like this Akai Mini, which is just like, obviously you can see it's super tiny, and that's all you need just to kind of use this as a controller to trigger the sounds inside your DAW, to trigger those virtual instruments. You can also get a full-length keyboard and have that on your desk or maybe on a stand beside you. You might even have a piano keyboard already, and that likely will double as a MIDI controller if you can plug it into your computer via USB. If you're using Logic, you can use something called musical typing. So I just press Command K in Logic here, and this is basically turns your keyboard into a controller. So you can think of like having this Akai like right on your actual keyboard, computer keyboard, and use that to trigger the instruments within your DAW. Let's say you already have all these 5 things and you waited to this part of the video to get more nice to haves in your home studio. So some more nice to haves in your home studio would be, well, one is just leveling up each of those areas with better quality things, better quality controllers, better microphones, better audio interfaces, better headphones, better speakers. That type of thing is like the first thing I would start out. Then you can start to add more microphones to your studio. Maybe you actually have a vocal microphone you really like, or if you're recording a lot of acoustic guitar or piano, you would probably want like a stereo pair of ribbon microphones to record like a stereo image of the piano or the guitar. You would look at adding real instruments to your studio, maybe an acoustic piano or another electric guitar, or another acoustic guitar, or an actual analog synth like a Juno synth or a Prophet synth. If you don't like the real type of instruments, you can just go and buy more virtual instruments. These are VSTs. An example would be the Native Instruments Contact Library, which has a huge selection of different sounds you can choose from, and then they just live inside your DAW, and then you use your controller to trigger those sounds. Things like getting a better desk for your setup and for your speakers, having those stands so you get that right sound image. Another thing would be to acoustically treat your room. So this would be a nice to have, like putting up foam pads. You can, if you don't know someone who knows how to do it, you can get these cool apps where you just record sound inside your room and the app will tell you where you need to put foam to actually like cover those bass traps or put foam in the right areas. More nice to haves would be like outboard gear, where you actually have physical hardware and physical compressors that have different feelings that you can give to your music, and also really solid interfaces. Maybe you level up to like an 8-channel interface or a 16-channel interface. This is only worth it if you need to have 8 or 16 channels plugged in at the same time. If you're making music, please put some of it in the comments and let us know where you're coming from and what kind of style of music you're making. Please feel free to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.